Hello, welcome back to Chris's Beer Reviews. That was a bit of a stretch to reach the button on the phone because I've moved the camera back a little bit because I'm doing a side by side. So I wanted you to be able to see both bottles that we have. And we're off to Belgium to have a look at two cherry beers. On my left, your right, we have the Chouffe cherry, the cherry Chouffe. And on my right, your left, we have the Kasteel Rouge. Both of these are available in Asda. However, if you buy the Kasteel Rouge in Asda, it's 7% ABV. Whereas if you buy it online or in a local off license, where I got that one from, it's the 8% version. So Kasteel have obviously done something with Asda to reduce the ABV, probably to reduce the cost, but there's very little price difference between the 8% and the 7%. The Cherry Chouffe is also 8%, so they're both 8% cherry beers. Kasteel Brewery make fantastic beers, as do Chouffe. Now, I have reviewed Chouffe on my channel, but it was a good few years ago when I first really started looking into lots of other different types of beers. And whilst I did enjoy it, I did think it was a bit sickly sweet. Which someone reprimanded me for in the comments, telling me I had no recourse, whatever that means. But I think my thoughts on that may well change now because I've drunk lots of different Belgian beers and beers from all over the place on this beer journey. So it was 2-3 years ago that I reviewed that. So my thoughts may change. Anyway, let's get on with it. So the Chouffe will go in the Chouffe glass. And there it is with the little gnomes on the front. And then the Kasteel will go in the beautiful Kasteel glass, which is very nice. What is that in there? Something in there, and this has just been cleaned. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's get on with it. But the bottle cap's quite nice on there, if you can see that. It's not going to focus, is it? But it's got some more gnomes on the top, messing around with some cherries. There we go. Missed. Let's pour that in. I do like a side-by-side video, and I enjoy watching other reviewers do side-by-sides. I actually don't watch as much beer videos as I used to, but it doesn't mean I don't enjoy beer still. I still do. Let's open the Kasteel. Not much of a head on there, but it is 8%, so to be expected. As I say, both 8%. And they're both going to be cherry. It's fairly obvious. And will one beat the other, or will they be just as good as each other? So again, not much of a head, but it's to be expected with 8% ABV beers. High ABVs don't really hang on to a head. But looking at them, it's probably going to be fairly difficult to compare them because they are in different shaped glasses. But I'd say the Kasteel probably is a little bit darker than the Chouffe, which is on my left, your right. There's up in the light, they're about similar near the bottom, both got a cherry vibe look to them. So let's have a good old sniffer of the Chouffe. And yeah, it smells of cherry drops. Remember the old Cherry cherry drop sweets? Definitely has that vibe to it, a bit of a yeasty vibe to it. Smells quite pleasant, doesn't smell particularly bold. Let's have a little sniff of the old Kasteel. And that's much more prominent on the cherry, much more prominent. Sweet cherries. Again, that kind of has a yeasty typey vibe to it. But definitely, excuse me, I've been unwell recently. Definitely a bolder aroma on the Kasteel Rouge. Let's go in with the Chouffe cherry. Cheers. That's lovely. That is lovely. That's really good. It is sweet. I called it sickly sweet a few years ago, and I was wrong to call it that. It isn't sickly sweet. It's very smooth sweetness, a bit medicinal. Very drinkable, definitely an after dinner drink. That is definitely is a winter drink as well. I mean, you can drink it in the summer, of course you can, but it has that kind of wintry feel to it, where you want to sit down after maybe Christmas dinner with an open fire and enjoy a cherry beer after dinner. That's lovely. I'm not going to delve deep into the flavour profiles, otherwise the video just goes on and on. I just want to see which one I think is better. But that is really good. It's like cherry drops. There is kind of spiciness to it and a lovely sweetness, and it really lines your mouth. Probably should have had some water really. I might have to have a couple of mouthfuls of the Kasteel to get past the cherry Chouffe. So let's have a go on the Kasteel Rouge. Let's get a third one in. Quite a difference. Interesting, there is a fair difference between those, but both are very, very good indeed. Both are very enjoyable beers, both of which I'd recommend. Let's have a look at the Kasteel. The Kasteel seems to have a busier mouthfeel to it. It's much more carbonated. I think this may be a nucleated glass, because that is really still firing away in the middle of there with nucleation, whereas the Chouffe has completely calmed down. There's hardly any carbonation to that whatsoever, but the Kasteel is definitely busier on the mouthfeel. Not as sweet as the Chouffe, but definitely full of cherry flavour. Absolutely full of it. You've got kind of a mixture of sweet ripe cherries and unripened cherries. And I think with the unripened vibe, you get more of a drying kind of feel at the back of the throat. It's a lot more drying than the Chouffe. They are both very good, and they're strangely quite different considering they're both cherry beers. Let's go with the Chouffe again. Definitely sweeter, without a doubt. I'll stick by that. I know I said before it's sickly sweet. It isn't, but it is definitely a sweeter beer than the Kasteel. That one stays sweet pretty much all the way across the palate, whereas the Kasteel dries out towards the end. But I like that kind of drying feel, but I'm also enjoying the sweetness of that. And it kind of lines your mouth more than the Kasteel does. Maybe that's because the carbonation in there is stopping it line your mouth, whereas that one is not as carbonated, which really allows it to kind of cover the entire part of your gob. Amazing how different they are, considering they're both 330ml bottles. They're both in the what I call the emoji poo bottles. Both from Belgium, clearly different breweries doing it a different way, but both are very, very good indeed. Could I split them? That's going to be tricky. Oh, Kasteel's good. Chouffe's good. Oh, I don't know if I can split them. I want this video under 10 minutes, so I don't have to split them, do I? There's no reason to split them. They are both fantastic beers. I'd be interested to taste the 7% Rouge that's in Asda. That would be an interesting comparison, the 8% versus the 7. But they're both very good. They're both very enjoyable. They're both highly recommendable. But if you can get the 8%, get the 8% rather than the Asda 7. Difficult to say if I could split them. If I was pushed, I'd probably go Kasteel. By the smallest of margins, I'd go the Kasteel. There you go, I'm all done. I'm going to have to lean right over again and press the button, and so you're going to see all that. But there you go, I am done. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you all watching. Let me know what you think of these two beers. I'm going to reach over and press the button. See you later. Take care.